Hey, welcome to the series of everything you need to know about Python in simplest possible way. In the series of pattern printing, so far we have seen so many patterns. In this video, we will see how we can actually print this particular pattern. So, if you could carefully observe this pattern, we are having a specific number which is repeating in terms of diagonals to the right side. So, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like that, the values are repeating in diagonal wise. So let's go ahead and see how we can print this particular pattern. So now what we will do is that in order to print this particular pattern, we will divide this pattern into two patterns, which is above pattern which is here and the below pattern which is here. By printing those above and below patterns, we will combine them and we will get the whole pattern. So in order to do that, let us go ahead and start with this particular above pattern. So for that, I will take a variable rows and I will assign with 5, because in this particular above pattern, I am having 5 rows here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For that, I am taking the values of rows as 5. So later I will use a spaces variable and I will assign with rows minus 1, because if you could observe this pattern, apart from these numbers we are also having these spaces, and in the first row we are having this particular spaces, and also we are having one single number here. For that reason I am taking this particular rows minus 1. So before actually printing this particular spaces, we cannot actually print this particular numbers here. For that reason, we need spaces. In order to keep track of those spaces, I am taking the variable spaces here. So next, what I will be doing is that in order to generate this many number of rows, I am using a for loop for I in range. Now we need to generate a range of values. And the question is, what are the range of values we are generating here? So in order to get all of these values, we need some kind of a base here. So in order to get that base, by observing this pattern, if you could observe this left diagonal, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, by taking this particular left diagonal, we can actually get this whole pattern. So for the time being, let us start with this particular base, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in this range, we need to generate these particular values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For that, I will start with 1 and I will go till the value of rows plus 1. So by mentioning this rows plus 1, it will stop at 5, which is rows here. So in this, what I will do is that in order to know what values we are having in I will print I here. So by printing it, we are having exactly what we have expected, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now the thing that what we are doing here is that we need to start with value I and go till the value 1 here. By observing this pattern here, we can compare these values of I and we can get this pattern. So by comparing that, we are starting with value I here and going till the value 1 here. So you can compare that. In the first row, we are starting with 1 and going till the 1, which is till 1. The second row, we are starting with I, which is 2 and going till 1. The third row, we are having 3 I and going till 1. Like that, we are going every single row. What we do when we have repeated number of statements, these are repeated number of statements, right? Every single row, we are having a simple procedure which is starting with I and going till the value 1. So we use loops, right? So that is what I will do now here also. For j in range, so we need to generate a range of values. As we have discussed, we need to start with I and go till the value 1. For that, I will start with y and go till the value of 1. So for that, I am mentioning 0 here. So we are going in the decreasing order. For that, I am mentioning minus 1 here. So in this for loop, instead of printing this I value, I will print the value of j here. So if I execute this, we can able to get the result as 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. These are the exact values that we are having in this particular above pattern. So the only thing we need to do here is that we need to arrange these values so that we can able to get this particular pattern. So for that, I will use a end parameter with space, because by default, this print is having this end parameter with new line. I am replacing with space. so that we can able to get everything in a single line. So later what we will do is that in order to get these values in the new line, as and when it reaches to the value 1, so I am talking about this completion of this inner for loop which is reaching to the value 1, we need to print a new line. So for that, after completion of this inner for loop, I am mentioning a print statement with simply nothing. So by executing this, we can get every value in the new lines. So we have got these values in the new lines. So the only thing we need to do here is that in order to get the pattern, we need to print these spaces, right? That what we have seen previously, these spaces. Before we need to print spaces of these particular numbers. For that, as and when we enter into this inner outer for loop, I will print the spaces. For that, I am mentioning a space here and I am mentioning a spaces variable, which is what we are using in order to keep track of these spaces. And I am mentioning end parameter with nothing because by default this print end is having new line. I don't want new line because I am replacing with this nothing. So later, after completion of this inner for loop, if you could observe this particular pattern, we are having this particular spaces is decreasing on each iteration, right? So for that, after completion of this inner for loop, I will decrease these spaces one here. So like that, we can able to get the pattern. Now, if I execute this, we can able to get the pattern exactly what we have expected in this above pattern. So I hope you have understood this logic. Later, what we will do is that we will do some procedure in order to get this below pattern. For that, what I will do is that I will use a loop for j in range, not j, k in range. So what we are doing in order to generate this below pattern is that we need some base as we have got in the above pattern. So the base we are considering here is that 2, 3, 4, 5. So by taking this base 2, 3, 4, 5, we can actually get this whole values. For that, in order to start with, I will go with 2 and go till the value of rows plus 1, which is the value of 5 here. For that reason, I am mentioning rows plus 1. So in this, what I will do is that I will simply print the value k for the result. So we are having 2, 3, 4, 5. By comparing this pattern, by comparing the value of k, we can actually come to a conclusion that in every single row, we are starting with the value 5 and going till the value of this particular k here, right? So you can observe that we are starting with 5 in every single row and going till the value of k is what I have printed here. So that is what we are doing now by using another for loop inside of this for loop for L in range. And to get this, I will start with rows and go till the value of whatever the value that we are having here, right? Which is k. So k minus 1. By mentioning this k minus 1, we will go till the value of k. So on each iteration, I am reducing minus 1 here. So if I execute this by mentioning instead of k, I will mention L here. Now, if I execute this, so we can actually get the values as 5432, 543, 54, and 5 here. These are the exact values that we are having in this pattern, right? So now we just need to arrange those values in order to get the exact pattern. So for that, I will use an end parameter, the new line, and after completion of this inner for loop, I will mention a print so that we can actually get these values, which is 5432, 543, 54 in the new lines like this. So as you can observe in this pattern, apart from these numbers, we are also having these spaces, right? So to print these spaces, I will use a print as and when we enter into this outer for loop. I'm using print and I'm using spaces. I'm multiplying spaces variable and I will mention an end. As you can observe, on every iteration or every row, we are increasing the spaces, right? So for that, as and when we complete this particular inner for loop, I will increase these spaces. So spaces plus equal to 1 here. So now if I execute this, so we are not getting exact pattern. The reason is that the spaces. So the spaces is repeating. We are using the spaces in the above pattern as well as in the below pattern. So we need to know the value in the spaces. We are having the value -1, and but this particular pattern we need to start with space with 1. So the difference between -1 and 1 is 2. So we need to modify this spaces variable to get the value 2. So for that I am using my spaces plus equal to 2 in order to modify and change the value -1 to 1 here. So now if I execute this, we can able to get the exact pattern that what we are expecting, right? So you can observe in this diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we are getting every value as we have expected in this pattern. So I hope you can able to understand this logic in order to generate this pattern. If not, I will sincerely suggest you to go through the video once again so that you can able to understand this logic to generate this particular pattern clearly. So now what we will do is that we will use an input asking user to enter rows here. So if I execute this, it was asking to enter rows. If I give the value, let's say 7 here, so we can able to get the values like this. So now if I give, let's say 9 here, so still we can able to get the pattern. So by using this logic, we can generate this kind of a pattern by any number given by the user. So in the next video, we will see how we can print this particular pattern. So if you found this video interesting, hit the like button. In the next video, we will see how we can print these particular values, this particular pattern. Here we are having with a greater value which is 5 and going in the decreasing order in the C shape and reaching to the 1 here. So we will see in the next video. To stay updated, subscribe to this channel and turn on the notifications to all so that whenever I upload any video, you will get the notification. So thank you for watching this video. See you in the next one.